We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today, we're focused on the whole entire season 2 that we just all watched and talked about, which was super, super fun. So we're going to do a season 2 recap. Hey, Smooth Cetacean Operator, I'm glad you kept that name. Hey, nice to see you. Everyone chime in the chat if you're here and say hello, and chime in as we go through them. I don't know if you all remember how this is actually, in addition to Ruben, there's the same group that got together for the season 1 recap, and that was Subcommander Tall's first episode on Starfleet Boys, so it's kind of like a weird kind of like an anniversary episode. So welcome, celebrating your welcome aboard the Starship Starfleet Boy. It's not really a starship, it's more like Starbase, but whatever.
Yeah, no, it's been so much fun.
It's been really fun having you. Your perspectives and insights are awesome, and just you're a fun dude. It's good to have you here.
Feelings mutual.
Thank you. I'm joined by Martian of season 2. It's a good name.
I am the Martian of season 2. Cat's Ball is the greatest episode. Hot take.
Father's reaction was great. We have Father from Text Trek here, and if you all get a chance, actually, like, you should pause this stream and go over to Text Trek and watch his.
Just stop watching this. Just pause this. You can catch this later.
You're gonna get way more out of that than you're gonna get.
Yeah. So go over and check out Text Trek, and watch our season finale for Lower Decks, season 2 finale for Lower Decks discussion, and next week he's gonna have his season recap as well, which is a lot of fun. And then Robbie up there, EGT, check him out. Pause this video also and go.
No.
All right, I'm being cheeky. Don't pause live videos. Wait till it's over and then go over there.
But yeah, just have one video playing in like Firefox, one video.
Oh yeah,
playing
you could do
in
like
Chrome.
multi-windows.
3 windows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you just hear us all talking at the same time and just all the overlap.
But later on today, right after this stream, at some point we will do Time Crash, a discussion of Time Crash, the little short with the 5th Doctor and the 10th Doctor.
Yeah. Brian won't let y'all skip anything, huh?
No. He's a completionist.
He very much is.
And then we have our wonderful Dadmiral here, who I totally skipped at the sign-off last week, and we didn't play his awesome trailer. So mea culpa, mea culpa. But it's nice to have you here, and you can check him out on Trek Cat, and he'll tell you more about his latest Lego build at the end of the show. So yeah. Just so
that's if you let me do it after last time.
You should just randomly throughout this episode just start playing the clip while in the middle of somebody talking. Just start playing it.
I do actually.
Like
you know
at least
what?
4 times.
You know what's cool? I do actually have it here. So here's the unplayed clip.
So that'd be pretty funny.
See, I had it ready to go.
I may be crazy, but one of those nacelles looks a little bit longer than the other. I got an extra brick in one of those nacelles. That's what I
Just
think.
so everybody knows, we previously spoke about it, and I actually had made it. Well, it was not a deliberate mistake, but it was a mistake. And one of them like filter. Yeah,
No, they look great, though. They look great.
It's been rectified since, but yeah.
All right, so the way this works. Oh, Father, you were gonna say something about it would be funny if
He got cut off by the video.
Yeah, I was trying to set up your thing there.
Timing.
I actually didn't have anything to say.
Okay, that's fine. So the way it works is we go through this wonderful artwork made by my friend Gary, and then you guys can just give any thoughts if you have them, on any additional thoughts on that episode if you have them, any comments, anything you want to say about it. But yeah, here we go with the season open with Amok Time. Spock goes into heat, has to go to Vulcan, and and ends up and we end up finding out he really loves Jim the whole time. So that's
I like this
That was
one because
my
it has
thing.
that song, the bong,
Yeah, no, I think this one it gives us a couple great musical themes that we hear perhaps too often for the rest of the series. But yeah, music. This is definitely a top 10 episode for the whole series, not just for season 2. I love this one. I didn't get to do this one with you guys, so this is near and dear to my heart, and it's one of those few Spock episodes that DC Fontana wasn't. I mean, I'm sure she did some rewriting on it, but she wasn't directly responsible for the script. That was Theodore Sturgeon.
Theodore Sturgeon, yeah.
It's a great episode.
Nice. Smooth Cetacean Operator says Ruben said Amok Time was ridiculous, and I'm still mad about it. So see, everything you say can affect someone, Ruben. Do you
And I'm mad about it too because I take notes for every episode, but I don't have notes on that one for some reason. And so I'm annoyed because I don't remember what I said.
I mean, we do meet T'Pau, who's an awesome character, and T'Pring wins the day. She gets her true love. What was his name?
Ston.
Ston.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got to meet that actor in real life one time, and he's
really?
He's kind of an a-hole. Yeah,
Lawrence Montaigne.
he's dead now though.
Oh, okay. Well,
He's also in The Great Escape, I believe.
Yeah, in fact, when this episode premiered, The Great Escape was the Friday night movie on, I think, ABC. So he was on 2 channels at once.
Oh, nice.
that's
Yeah.
right. Jace, who's here, welcome. Jace says I joined Twitter this week, so I'm following some of you. Jace, if you want to post your handle in the comments, I'll gladly display it so everyone can follow you.
Yeah, no, we learn a lot about Spock. And anyway, moving on. No, you go ahead.
Sorry, I was on mute again. I can't control these. It's like too many things going on for Starfleet Boy.
Don't put Starfleet Boy at helm control.
I'll just add one thing to that. Is it was a very character focused, as kind of a Spock spotlight episode, whereas traditionally with the original series things were very well done, but very narrative. Here's a science fiction premise. And that was kind of the focus of the story. But here they do some, we get some of his backstory. We'll get more of that later in season 2. We get to see his home world for the first time, learn more about Vulcan culture. It's a story you could only do with Spock as the main character.
Right on. And Arthur Lamoreo, I hope I'm saying your surname correctly, who thanks for commenting on Twitter and being forced to narrow it down to your favorite. I appreciate you. Says T'Pring is supposed to appear in Strange New Worlds, so this episode's legacy continues. Yeah, that's the rumor.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
That's the rumor.
so-
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out.
Ethan Peck's definitely hinting at it when he's saying, like, yeah, we'll see some of Spock's romance life. So
So yeah. Who mourns for Adonias? All these years until Father E pointed it out, I've been saying Adonis for some weird.
Yep,
weird
that's
reason.
wrong. This is Adonias.
Yeah.
It's
I
Adonias,
did the
yeah.
same thing. Yeah, for many years.
Yeah, we all did.
I think we all did. Yeah, I know I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah.
it's an unusual spelling for. We can get into the weeds on that. They're probably not the moment, but yeah.
Interesting episode. Supposing that the gods of Rome and Greece, ancient Rome and Greece, had origins in outer space, and that they had a wonder machine that could give them powers and stuff like that. So. And they need to be worshipped, so they use worship energy of some kind. It's really wild stuff. That's what I remember about it. What about you guys?
There's a lot of Star Trek episodes of man versus God. The older Roddenberry got kind of the more obsessed with that concept he got, but you see it very early on in the original series, and especially right here.
Well, and didn't he famously shove Q into the Encounter at Farpoint pilot?
Yeah.
he has something with this is one of my favorite episodes because it's very theatrical, like theater. It makes me think of my theater days, so I really enjoyed it. Very simple, one set, kind of everything happening on a stage, basically. So I really enjoyed this one.
I also met the actor who played Apollo at the same convention that I met
Oh, wow.
Ston at, and this guy was actually really cool, and he he seemed to like really love life and love talking about his career, just his life in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's
seemed
Michael
like a fun
Forrest. Yeah, Michael
Michael
Forrest.
Forrest,
That's great.
And he
no, I've never
reprised
had the
this
chance to meet him.
role on Star Trek
Trek
Continues,
Continues.
which is a
First
YouTube.
episode. It's actually the first episode of Star Trek Continues.
Right.
They bring him back. Yeah.
Mm.
Please, someone believe in me. My skin's so dry and I'm old.
Yeah, I mean the concept is a little goofy, but it's just so sensitively acted, and I like the soundtrack to it as well. I mean,
Kirk
I
has
think
that awesome speech.
yeah, absolutely. It's hard not to like it, and a couple great stunts from Jay Jones as Scotty flipping around. So I like that as well.
Spock takes a lightning boat. The Enterprise takes a lightning boat.
Robbie, what did you think of it? Do you remember this episode?
Not too well. I remember Scotty being hit by a kind of beam of light, and I remember the crew talking it out and trying to use their smarts against Adonais and not talking. And then I can't remember her name, the woman who
Palamas, Lieutenant Palamas.
Yeah.
was attracted to him. It's a good episode, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she dumps Scotty straight away for him.
Yeah.
As one does.
Well, wouldn't you? I mean, he's literally got the body of a Greek god. So
I'm not going to live in your Jeffries tube, Scotty.
this also gives us the very iconic and memorable green space hand, which was just a force field. But
That's right. Smooth Citation Operator says, your faces are so tiny, I have to watch on the TV just to see your expressions. By the way, welcome. Speaking of tiny faces, welcome PJ. How you doing? Not your... that was weird. You don't really have a tiny face, but you do now. That's what's true. Anyways, that was dumb. Sorry, PJ. How are you?
I'm well.
Excellent.
Hell yeah, I've just insulted you, but how are you? Yeah.
I just called you tiny face. And
Hey, it's tiny face.
it's like a Dick Tracy villain or something.
Yeah, like a gangster name.
It's my bad
I killed the guy who called me tiny face the first time. What did you think of Who Mourns for Adonais, PJ?
Yeah, it's okay. It's just one. A lot of episodes of TOS are just okay to me, but in those, okay episodes, there's like absolute gold. Like the last episode you were talking about before I came on.
Oh yeah, Amic Time.
Mirror, Mirror. I don't know if that's the next one or.
Is it? Yes, it is. And no, the Changeling is
Changeling.
next. Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
yeah.
So
That one's okay too.
hold on, let me see if I can do this. There we go. The Changeling. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I love Nomad.
An episode so good that they did a remake of it in 1979.
Yeah.
They did actually. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, Nomad's cool. Like the whole Spock mind melding with him. That's like whatever. I just remember it being a really good episode. I kind of want that Nomad, like a full scale model, just hanging around right over here at all times. It might be cool.
So does anybody buy the fact that he mind melds with the thing, or is that just?
I do.
Yeah.
If it has brainwaves, because it's an AI, they're produced electronically just like ours are. Our brainwaves use electronic impulses, so it's possible that a touch psychic, as Vulcans are known, could meld with a machine that's giving off that has sufficient intelligence to give off brainwaves.
Spock is a very, very promiscuous mind melder. He will mind meld with anything. he will mind meld with Nomad. He will mind meld with V'ger,
whales.
The Horta.
Yeah,
The Horta.
Horta.
He tries
Yeah,
with
the
Norman.
Red Angel.
He tries
Yeah.
with what?
With Norman in I Mud for a moment. He tries to. Yeah. This is another famous and pretty good instance of Kirk talking the computer to death, or
Yep.
talking the computer into suicide. Is probably the best
Using
known
like,
example, really.
like a 10-year-old logic against a computer that's supposedly
It worked. And it's the first time we see John Meredith Lucas's association with Star Trek. He'll later he writes this episode. He'll later become direct a couple and become the line producer for about half a season. So, but this is first involvement.
So basically, Kirk makes him commit suicide, and Spock mind melds the shit out of it. So that's
No, it's the Kirk Spock combo.
yeah.
good cop, bad cop. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tilly. Tilly's in the audience. Tilly, if you want to come on, let me know. I'll send you the link. It's nice to see you, though, if you're just hanging out in the chat, too. Let us know what your favorites from this season were. Smooth Cetacean Operator says Jillsville 7 on Twitter is their Twitter handle. And then we've got Jace who says mine is probably Mr. Jace 76. I think that's what it is, too. I can't multitask. I'm sorry, so I can't go look it up for you. Otherwise, I'd do you a solid and do that. Anything else about the Changeling, guys?
I think it's a pretty solid, fun episode. Yeah.
The Horda's Smooth Cetacean Operator's favorite.
It's only hurt a little bit by the Uhura scene and getting, I love Nichelle Nichols having stuff to do, and they, we're seeing in season 2 that a lot of the supporting characters have, well, in general, less to do, especially Sulu had quite a lot to do in the first season. But that scene with her, trying to learn to read again after having her brain empty, that's a little painful. I mean, I'm happy for her to have something to do, but it always made me kind of cringe when I watched this as a kid.
Bluey?
Yeah, Bluey.
Now we have Mirror Mirror, the iconic,
Look at that beard.
iconic episode of Star Trek taking place in an alternate universe, or a parallel universe, or a mirror universe, as it were. This episode's fantastic. It holds up to this day, and it's inspired a ton of follow-ups throughout Star Trek. Like, we keep going back to the mirror universe. People love it.
I don't love it.
Yeah, some people don't. I do, though. I love that it gave us that. I think just like, Balance of Terror gave us the Romulans. Now we can have all these cool Romulan stories. So this is one of those like big foundational things. Amok Time, we get to see Vulcan. Now we visit planet Vulcan all the time. I like the mirror universe. I like it being used. It's definitely gotten a lot of attention recently with Discovery, so I think people are a little sick of it now. But I like the concept. I think it's fun to visit the Terran Empire.
I don't have a problem with the mirror universe. I just have the problem with it being overused. I think it's become a crutch that the writers have got into, and I think that's for me where it is. The mirror universe itself and the Terran Empire, brilliantly done. The 2 Enterprise episodes, Mirror Darkly, brilliant. Actually, I love the 2. The 2 Enterprise ones. But as I said, I think like you said, I think Discovery just was too much.
Well, this seems like the best one to me, but I haven't seen the Discovery one, so I think the first one was the best. But in comparison,
because I only really know this episode and DS9 one from the reviews. I'm happy with both of those.
Yeah, because Voyager didn't go.
Sorry, I had to cut you off.
Go ahead, Tall.
Oh, no, I was just gonna, in comparison to the previous episode, now Uhura does have some other stuff to do, and she's awesome in it. So
yeah. And Sulu gets a lot in here because he gets to
That's
be.
true.
He is actually evil. Sulu.
Yeah.
He's not one of the crossover people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Sulu was sparse this season, so it's nice to
Shooting
to
the
see
Green
him there.
Berets.
Yeah. Let's see here. Smooth Cetacean Operator says Mirror Mirror is the only good Mirror Universe episode to me so far. She's seen them all. Who else who's seen them all? Where do you rank this one as far as the best ones, if you care to rank it?
Top.
Yeah,
Top
it's
also.
got to be number one because everything else stands on top of the shoulders of this episode, and the evil Spock is so well written. I like that, Star Trek gave us like these nuanced villains. It wasn't so black and white like a lot of the science fiction in film and television at the time. That speech at the end. They have like the big boss fight against evil
Oh, yeah.
Spock, but then they have like that speech, and wouldn't it be logical to pursue like a less destructive way of life, and just like the ending of that line of Captain Kirk, I shall consider it.
Yeah.
I love all of that.
Yeah.
Very nice. I think Mirror Spock is the most attractive of all Spocks. I think Lumberjack Spock is the most attractive, but yeah, Mirror's a
I
close
think
second.
the Spock in the Bilbo Baggins song is the sexiest Spock.
Was he wearing pointy ears in the Bilbo Baggins song? Like the
No,
Hobbits?
but the girls
Well,
dancing were
He could have
the
been an elf,
yeah.
right?
Big time. Yeah.
the early
Could've been an
70s
elf
or
singing
late
about Bilbo.
60s college girls with their bizarre
Yeah.
dancing they were
And
doing.
you know
their
who
little
one of them
Hobbit
was?
dance.
You know who one of them was? It
Who?
was Aaron Gray, who had become Colonel
Oh my
Deering
God.
on the Buck Rogers.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Knight
like
Rider.
she's over his left shoulder, I think.
Wasn't she in Knight Rider 2 for
Rewatch
a season
that.
or two?
Huh?
Wasn't she in Knight Rider 2 for like a season or two?
Aaron
She,
Gray? I don't think she was in Silver Spoons. Now we're getting really off topic. But if anybody even knows what that is, probably
Here
not.
we are, face to face.
Yeah,
a
thank
couple
you,
of
thank you.
silver
Yeah.
spoons.
But she wasn't in
I
Mirror.
remember the dyslexia episode of that.
Daniel's here. Hello, Daniel. We'll see you in Chicago. It's almost here. Oh my gosh. This is
Less
one of
than
my
6
favorite
months away.
episodes. Yeah. This one is a classic, and I'd put this in the top 10. Yeah, it's like it's a really
Totally.
great episode. Jace, everyone's having trouble picking a favorite. I just put people on the spot, but no one really has to do it. I can't pick a favorite episode from season 2. There are a few I would put at the top. Yeah.
But they're almost all from the first half of season 2.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is one of the episodes where if you was to say like pick 10 episodes that would be for TOS, you would have to put this one in.
Oh
I
yeah.
would say,
Totally agree.
in that 10 episodes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anyone else have any comments on Mirror Mirror?
Great score by Fred Steiner, and I like the romance subplot with oh gosh, Barbara Luna. Yeah.
Very, very cool. The Apple with Vol is
Yeah.
the next episode. Speaking of people running around naked, someone was saying, why does everyone run around naked in Star Trek? It's yeah, we go to this planet with these kooky folks, and I guess this is like a Prime Directive type of episode. Trying to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I think that definitely one of the themes, especially in season 2. This is I don't like this one very much. I mean, it's a very by the numbers Star Trek kind of thing. You talk the computer to death. There's a problem with the ship in orbit, so they can't beam up. And then are they going to violate the Prime Directive? Of course they are. So it's there's moments, and then a lot of red shirts die. A lot of them die. I think
Yeah.
probably more on this episode than any. But
It has all the
I think
tropes.
it
It
does.
has
Yeah.
everything.
I think it's a good one to show people if you want, like, just an example of the original series. But yeah, there's definitely like better episodes of the show. But I don't have any bad feelings on this one. I like it, but it is very much by the numbers, and you can kind of see the second season diminished budget. You know, if this had been a season 1 episode, they might have actually like gone on
somewhere.
location. Yeah, they would have been like out in the wilderness or something. And here they're on the not great set, but not bad. It's still kind of fun to see like the weird colored sky and stuff. Reminds you that it's on another world.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about this on the discussion, but not the best, but the first to mention of the Enterprise's saucer separation. But
Yeah,
I
good
feel-
point.
I feel
don't
like
they mention that in The Naked Time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. But no, I think this. I think this is the first mention of it. But
Daniel says, I used to think the Apple was silly, but upon recent viewing of your guys' discussion of this episode, I appreciate it a little more, but definitely not the top 10. I'm glad we gave you reason to find more esteem for this episode in our discussion. I actually don't remember that, like what we even talked about in that discussion, but I'm an old man, so that happens.
In this one, you've got a very young David Soul in it.
Yeah.
Very,
right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, I
Maybe.
totally forgot about
Also
that. Yeah.
There's a
the-
kissy
the-
plot. There's like a whole romantic
Yeah.
kissy plot going on. That's right. And love saves
And
the
the
day. or
explosive
something like
rocks. Don't
Yeah.
forget the explosive rocks.
that. Next is Doomsday Machine.
Yes.
Now this one I remember. I love this episode.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Basically, it's the planet killer and Commodore Decker, crazy Ahab type themes going on. So yeah, pretty cool episode. What do you guys think?
Great,
Yeah.
greatly acted by William Wyndon, playing Decker. He was good. He was a
Some
was
of
a
those
highlight.
60s actors really overact when they have to play like stressed out or
Yeah.
like insane, like they would go way over the top. But he did a pretty good job, and
Yeah.
it's a
The
classic.
makeup
It's
made
a
him look
really good
great.
episode. It's probably another one that's going to be in the top 10 because
Yeah,
it
I
has
think
like
so.
the tension and the action, and when he assumes command and like you become just the obsession with him, and it's like focused on a guest character. It's like really focused on him, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, if you don't give this a 10 out of 10, I don't know what you would. I mean, when I think of like how to rate, then the ratings are kind of silly, but I think what would I make different to improve this? And I cannot think of anything that the tension that arises from the time pressure, the interesting alien, the great acting, and just interesting character of Commodore Decker, and having Kirk and Spock and McCoy and Scotty all have something to do to showcase their abilities, and I do kind of like it's I don't want to say rare, but it's nice to have an episode that is so good, but it's not particularly philosophical. I mean, it's an action-packed, character-driven kind of fun episode, but it's not it's not heavy-handed in any way. It's not really about anything, which I do. Maybe some people don't like that, but sometimes I think Star Trek leans into that a little bit too much. But
Excellent. Now we go from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Happy Halloween.
However, it is
Oh yeah,
Ruben's
this is the
favorite
best
episode.
best Halloween episode of Star Trek ever.
To be honest, I think you watch Catspore, but the one line that I am never going to forget is Robbie. I don't like cats.
Is this where that happened? Is this where Robbie's dislike or indifference to cats was publicly known? That's funny.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't like cats either.
I think it's probably one of the worst episodes of Star Trek for me.
So
It's not very high on the list. I'd have to
it
say.
would be on a bottom 10 for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say like yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worse than any episode
Hey man,
up
if you're
until
gonna be
this
good,
point.
be good in whatever
At
direction
least.
you can be good in.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch. It's so bad it's good.
there's a
There's
little
fun
bit of
stuff
that.
in it.
I think there is a little bit of that. Yeah.
And I like some of the visuals, like when they have like the three witches on the planet's surface, and
Oh yeah.
like the skeleton in the dungeon, and stuff like that is kind of it's kind of fun to see.
I think this
So-
is the bit where your PJ was saying about being overacted, and that's the three witches. That's Christ, Captain Kirk, Captain Kirk, Captain Kirk.
There's a couple
Oh.
okay kind of snarky Spock comments in it where he says the very bad poetry, or when Kirk says to Spock, or he says Halloween or trick or treat, you'd be a natural. I mean, just little things like that are okay, but the overall this is not a good episode. But it can be. I agree, it can be fun because it's bad. And I do like some of William Shatner's acting, and when he's trying to seduce Sylvia. I mean, I like some of his facial expressions there, where he's subtly able to portray what's supposed to look sincere to her, but to the audience is clearly not sincere. So I don't know. I think that works. But seeing the cat roam through the little cardboard box hallways, and some of the fight scenes are pretty stupid.
I can remember our meme about
Giant
the cat,
fucking cat.
blowing planets out of orbit and stuff like that. It was like some
I'll
some
tell you, they
crazy
should
stuff.
bring it back in Strange New Worlds. The cat took over the planet.
Well, remember, it's not bringing it back, Ruben. it would be
or
a
whatever.
prequel.
They should go to that planet again.
Catspaw is hilarious. So Tilly says, "I know this one is utterly dreadful, but I'll always remember that I don't like and remember when Robbie's like, I don't like cats." But also, in addition to that, yes, Tilly, this was your first episode of Starfleet Boy, and you stayed with us. So thank you. It's always near and dear to my heart for that too. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, with that one, it was always going to go up. It was always going to go up from this episode.
I do think Catspaw has a nice opening.
What was it? I remember.
I think Catspaw has a nice opening.
No, I'm trying to remember the opening. I can't remember.
The opening. Now.
It's they have a transporter trouble and
Oh yeah.
Guy.
go down to the surface, and it's
And the
very kind of
witches.
eerie, and you see the castle.
Yeah.
And Jackson falls off the transporter pad. Yeah.
Daniel
Yeah.
says, I just read a blurb saying that William Wyndham didn't like doing this show, didn't want to be there, felt disgusted by the bickering between Nimoy and Shatner, and decided to over.
That could be. He's a cranky dude. If you read any of his interviews, he's he's sort of griping about everything. But that I believe that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that interview, but I believe it.
Reading through some
Arthur
of my
says,
notes
"Don't
of the
think this is as bad as most of the third season." So yeah, I guess we'll find out soon how much worse it can get.
I have in my notes here. Hard to believe this was written by Robert Bloch, who wrote Psycho. It's a novel.
Daniel also says, "And what's with the aliens made out of pipe cleaners pasted everywhere over the leftover bits of Grover fur?" Yeah, those aliens reappear in Deep Space Nine. PJ and I were
Really?
we were doing a commentary in there in the
A
class.
picture of them.
Yeah,
a picture of them
Sorry,
reappears.
that's what I meant to say. Yeah. They don't reappear actually, but it's cool that they are cataloged, I guess, which is
There was a
DS9
line-
has
there
the
was-
most TOS callbacks because everyone working on Deep Space Nine were big fans of the original series.
Oh, that's cool.
I
That's
wrote a
very
line
cool.
of dialogue for the episode that says the cat is the most ruthless and terrifying of animals. What?
Smooth Citation Operator says, "I'm pondering which is the best season of all Trek and which is the worst for ratings. If TOS Season 1 is a 10, not perfect but the best, and TOS Season 3 is the worst, so maybe a 3, then what is Season 2? Interesting. You'll have to make a list and send it to us." Chris says, "Hey Chris, by the way, nice to see you. I learned from your review that one of the costumes in Catspaw was used in Gilligan's Island." That's right. That's right. I do remember that. All right, so next, anything else about Catspaw? I think we've belabored this episode.
I'm telling you, man. Everybody hates it, but there's a lot to talk about. It's a magical episode.
Well, another one that's a lot to talk about is definitely I Mud. So here we have it. I like that image, Gary chose of Harry
Harcourt,
Mudd.
Fenton Mudd.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm another great episode. This one has to do with the androids. So he was in season 1 with the women with the magic pill, and season 2 he's with some androids. What did y'all think of this one?
I enjoy it. This is whether it's top 10, I'm not quite sure, but I like oh dear, what's his Roger Carmel as Fenton Mudd. For me, he is Mudd. I don't like the I've forgotten the name of the actor who did it in Discovery. I don't like him as
Rainn
Mudd.
Wilson.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson. But I like Roger C. Carmel. I do. I think for me he is Mudd. So
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, it's an out and out comedy, pretty much, especially towards the end. I mean, what I've said about it is like it's Star Trek's version of Batman. It gets very campy toward that last sequence. Is just sort of theater of the absurd, but it's very interesting to see the actors do that kind of stuff, and the story. I mean, having the story is kind of interesting too. And of course, Roger Carmel has a lot of charisma. It's not a top 10 episode, I agree, but it's pretty entertaining.
Right on. Let's see here. Oh, okay, cool. See you soon, PJ. Is PJ still here? Hold on, I have a comment over. Oh, there we go. I think PJ's frozen or is having technical issues. But he has to go anyways. PJ, if you can talk to us, anything you want to say about the whole season before you go?
If you can hear me,
Yes, we can.
the second season is as good as it gets. There you go. It's all downhill after that.
I don't
All
remember the third season, so I'm looking forward to finding out. Have a great afternoon, PJ. Thanks for hopping on.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
The empath is an example. Turnabout intruder. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya.
I love the
Yeah.
empath. I like the empath. I can't wait for the empath.
Yeah,
So,
that's
anyway,
when
yeah.
you first came on our show. You said that was one of the ones you remembered when you were a kid.
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
was
it's my origin story. So
Oh, cool.
Oh wow, yeah, that'll be exciting to hear that because I think that's a really boring episode. I'd have a hard time commenting on
no,
it.
I understand most people don't like it, and I totally get that, but we'll get there.
I gotta watch it now just to I gotta skip to it and watch it just to kind of check it out because I don't have much of a memory of it. I wonder if Mud will show up in Strange New Worlds. I have a feeling he could, right? Like he's been on Discovery, so there's no reason why he could.
I'd be disappointed if he doesn't actually, because like
He's part of
I wanted to
this,
see
like-
more of him.
Yeah. Daniel says, iMud is silly fun. I might rank this one an 8 because it's good, but the stakes aren't as high as on Mud's Women. Yeah, Mud's Women has an interesting message to it. Mud was going to return in TNG, but Roger Carmel died. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mud's great. I like the character. I actually do like Rainn Will. I was also a little reticent, Ian, about Rainn Wilson, but he's grown on me, so I'm excited. I like him.
The more I see him, the more I don't like his mud. Nothing against Rainn Wilson, but I just don't like his portrayal.
It'd be interesting to see him get sillier, like closer to this Mud, as we, maybe when we see him in Strange New Worlds, they change his character.
He's a different type. He has a different type of humour than Roger C. Carmel. It's a different one, but we do get to see Mud back in the animated series.
Yes,
so
yeah, I was about to say there is a
That's
third
true.
Carmel
Oh, that's right,
Mud
that's right.
episode, Mud's Passion.
If I'm honest, and I don't mean to be rude, but in Discovery, I feel like Mud reminds me of a CW DC villain for some reason.
Oh, he's not that good.
Hot take.
Good hot takes. What's up next, guys? Do you guys remember? It is Metamorphosis with the other Ephraim Cochrane.
Yeah,
What do you mean the other? He's the original.
the shorter one.
Wait, I guess it's the same as Ephraim Cochrane. That's right. But people are like, "Oh, it doesn't match." Like with, I guess people say it doesn't match with Walter. Well, not Walter. What's his name? Cromwell's.
James Cromwell.
James
Yeah,
Cromwell.
James
Yeah.
Cromwell's. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's very young. He somehow remained young through the energies, the strange energies that he was being exposed to, and yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, he was old when he gets to the planet. He's an
Oh,
old
he
man.
does say
but
that,
then
you're right.
there-
It is
so
a
he could have
strange-
looked like
Yeah,
James
it's
Cromwell
true.
and then
That's
got
true.
regenerated. So
Deja vu. We probably talked about this.
I wasn't on for this episode. I sort of but I remember watching it or watching the comments. I felt like you guys didn't like it too much. I sort of didn't like it when I was young, but I've grown to, in part because of Scott Mance's tireless advocating for it. I see a lot better in it now. I mean, it's a very, I don't know. It's a pretty episode. I mean, the directing, the lighting, the music. Some of the shots are very sensitive. I mean, you can kind of the way what's the name of the lady in it? I forget her name, but Eleanor Donnie, who plays her, but she's kind of maybe not characterized great as sort of this working woman shrew who then becomes a love smitten host for the alien, but
because she dies.
yeah, or she
Basically.
gets merged. She gets merged, whatever it is.
Well, she's dying, isn't she?
She is
actually
dying, yeah,
isn't she?
yeah. But I like it. I think there's some good speechifying in it and some nice music and just some, it's fun to look at. I mean, it's a visually attractive episode.
I still say it's still semi a love story. It's there between Cochrane and the alien. So it's for me, it's a love story.
Yeah, I do remember something. We talked a lot about her character during the discussion, and apparently it's Andy Griffith's wife, so it's cool. Journey to Babel, another icon.
A great one.
Really great
Introduction of Sarek.
And Amanda.
Yeah, and also the Tellarites and the Andorians. And we did get Orions previously with the Cage and the Menagerie, but this gave us the notion of like the Orion crime syndicate, or there being more going on with them than just some sexy slave ladies. So yeah, this was incredibly foundational, and give that credit to DC Fontana. I think all or most of that were all her ideas.
I have here in my final thoughts for my notes. I wrote, solid episode, layers of story, drama, and intrigue, family dynamics, friend dynamics, space battle, tactics, a secret enemy, breathtaking episode. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Well done.
And one of the best sequences of Kirk Fu in Star Trek history, where he does, the gluteus maximus attack on the Andorian.
The butt slam. Technically an Orion disguised as an Andorian.
Oh,
right,
yeah. Good point.
I think this is also when you find out that Spock doesn't talk about his family, doesn't talk about their, because obviously there's that scene where Kirk says to Spock, "Do you want to go down to Vulcan to see your family?" And he said, "Oh, Sarek and Amanda are my parents." So there's that bit.
Yeah. Well, he also didn't tell anyone about his fiance either.
Yeah, he's like super. Yeah,
he didn't talk about his fiance, his parents, his brother, his sister,
his eyelids.
That's right. He has another eyelid. That's right. I forgot about that.
He's a very private man.
Yeah.
Everyone's giving this episode praise in the chats. Journey to Babel is great. I love the intro of Spock's parents. Top 10. Dorothy Fontana was and forever will be awesome. That's true. I liked how the shuttlecraft looks in Metamorphosis and how it is utilized in season 2. The shuttlecraft gets much more screen time in season 2 compared to seasons 1 and 3. Oh, that's interesting. I thought they would keep using it more. The Andorians were well cast. Yeah, this is a great episode. Is there any reason why the shuttlecraft is used the most in season 2 compared to the other seasons of Star Trek?
That's a good question. I mean, but I know for sure they made no new footage of it, and no new space footage of it. That was the only footage they ever created for that was for Galileo 7, and they just reused it over and over. But I mean, the large scale model built by AMT, who took fronted the cost for it, as we all know.
Which lives here in Texas now. It's at the NASA Space Center in Houston.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. No, I don't know why it appears more in. Yeah, I don't think it appears. Does it appear at all? One appears in season 3. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, which is stolen by Lokai. But no, I don't know why they. Well, season 2, it's like they. Sorry, say again.
It could have just been coincidence that the stories they wrote just didn't involve.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say one of the things about season 2 is that even though it has a lot of the best elements, there is a sort of repetition of elements as well. Sometimes, whether it's violating the Prime Directive or parallel world or talking the computer to death or that kind of. It does revisit, I think, things perhaps a little bit too often, but some of those things were just really, really good. Perhaps the shuttlecraft is one of them. But yeah, I don't know if there's a reason.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the shuttlecraft, but I guess we do see it a lot more in this season. Friday's Child, crazy episode with interesting costumes. That's what I remember. About
y'all were hating on this episode so much. I was like, man, y'all are overlooking the good stuff here. But
remind us of that good stuff. Distill it for us, Father.
Julie Newmar. Julie Newmar is good in it. You can't. She was really good in it. So yeah.
We have the Klingons returning. It establishes the Klingons as a as a long-term problem in a show that's very much problem of the week. We solve
Right.
it, go to warp, move on to a different star system, and deal with something else the next week. They're like, oh no, like the Klingons are actually going to be causing problems for us this entire show. They were like running around on location, which we didn't see a ton of in season 2.
I wrote down this incredible piece of dialogue from Bones where he says, "Uchi Uchi Coochie Coo."
Oh, that's another great point to bring up, Ruben, is that DeForest Kelly gets a lot more to do in season 2 than season 1. They kind of realized that they needed to push him more into like the Kirk Spock territory as the leading characters, and DeForest Kelly gets his name in the title sequence, and
credits,
yeah, there's some stuff that they figured out in season 1. Things like, hey, it'd be cool if we could have like the shuttlecraft, so that they can reuse that a lot in season 2. Or they figured out like, oh yeah, like the show kind of needs to be focused on these 3 dudes and their dynamic, and so they are able to push that more in season 2.
Right on. We have feather boas and high ponytails. Friday's Child. Daniel says Friday's Child is a fun one. Julie Newmar. All I gotta say, yeah, she's pretty cool.
McCoy had a line that was good. I can't remember it.
There's great banter.
I'm a doctor, not an escalator.
Does he
Yeah,
say
that's
that?
it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Somebody wrote down in the chat there, Daniel, CEO.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Daniel Sio's got
One
it.
of the best ones. I'm a doctor, not an escalator. The Klingons are used the most in season 2 compared to any other season of Star
Yeah,
Trek.
another good point.
Mm-hmm.
PJ says Julie Newmar is the only good thing about this episode, just because she's ridiculously beautiful. Again, Mario, hey, what's up? Julie Newmar. Everyone, this is like the Julie Newmar episode. All right. Sorry we ever hated on it. Julie Newmar saves the day. It's true.
Isn't this episode actually produced one of the most used memes as well for the red shirt as well?
Where he gets the the roll thing
when
in
he's
it.
Klingon and he's got that
yeah.
that face he pulls. I think it's from this. This is the episode it's from.
Yeah.
I wrote down another ridiculous line of dialogue where they say that thing that the guys throw is as effective as a phaser.
Over short distances.
Or no distance. I don't care what competition you're at.
That's really funny.
Actually,
The
wasn't
deadly-
it McCoy?
Oh, go ahead.
Just
Sorry.
briefly on that one, wasn't it McCoy had originally been to that planet? Wasn't that the premise that he'd been there?
Yeah.
before?
Oh, it was like how Kirk had spent time on the.
Private
Yeah, I
little
think
world.
Well, we
Or-
on
Voice
Neural, and we haven't gotten there yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In
That's
the
right.
Nagato episode.
McCoy did. I forgot about that.
Hmm.
The Deadly Years. Strange radiation is what the description says. Exposes the command crew of the Enterprise to the effects of rapid aging. Yeah, this was an interesting episode.
Yeah, I like this one too. Well, did y'all not like it? Did y'all?
I
I
liked
didn't. I
it.
didn't see
No,
this
I
one.
like it.
Chekhov
I
has
like
that
it.
cool scream scene.
This sets up the Chekhov screaming trope because he does scream
Yeah.
a lot throughout
Yeah.
Star Trek,
Yeah.
It's got a good
especially in the
scream.
movies. Yeah, the motion picture probably has his best one when he gets zapped by the V'ger probe.
Yeah. And then, well, don't forget the SETI eel. That's another.
Oh
big
yeah,
one.
yeah, that was an incredible scream he did there.
Yeah. He's got it. This is a good episode for him. I mean, he doesn't have a ton, but then he also he gets to complain about all the skin samples and stuff. And
Right.
I remember
Taking
this
a bug and
conversation.
eating.
This was pretty good. I mean, it's the concept is a little hokey, but it's very entertaining to see that. I mean, it's just fun to see how they imagine them getting older. I mean, it got a little over the top by the end of the episode, but I like how the principal actors tried to, make changes to their mannerisms and stuff, and that McCoy Southern accent coming out, and
That's right.
it's pretty entertaining. And the final scene.
McCoy played the accent getting stronger in his old age when he showed up on Next Generation and Encounter
That's
at
right.
Farpoint.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they
Yeah.
actually kind of matched up that old age makeup. It looks
Oh yeah.
similar here. But the funny thing is they clearly weren't planning on Star Trek being this thing that lasts for decades, because they just assumed that, okay, well, because Spock is a Vulcan and his dad is like 200 years old, he will not age as fast as all these other people, so they don't have him doing the rapid aging. But then, we get to, like Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, it's like, hey, Nimoy, you look like just as old as all these other people, so what's going on? Well, no, just the virus just didn't affect him the same.
Right.
We get the Romulans, kind of. I would say, like...
the second time that they come back. I mean, you just see the stock footage, but there's no characters. But
in a rare move, there's a little bit of continuity where they reference the Carbomite maneuver, because Kirk does the same trick, but this time on the Romulans.
Arthur, I think this was the first Walter Koenig scream, the first Chekhov scream. I would have to say.
The script. Well, didn't he have something like that in the Agonizer booth? That was the first one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he was screaming in that, yeah.
Good
My
call.
bad. My
Mirror,
bad,
mirror.
my bad. All right.
But this is also when you another episode where you see one of Kirk's old loves as well.
Oh yeah, and she was like into older dudes. So when he starts getting older, she's like, "Oh, hey Jim, what's up?" Like she's really into it. But I like that. I like that they were willing to just run with that. I like that.
That is funny. The Klingon in Friday's Child was one of the worst Klingons ever. I don't even remember the Klingon in this episode.
He didn't look very Klingonish. He was just like this balding dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Krell. Well, I don't know what his name was.
I should cosplay as like if I go bald, I'll cosplay as him.
You've
Old
got
age-
the beard, but you need to get rid of the mustache.
Well, now if he was retconned properly, then he would be bald. He would have the ridges. Yeah. So I mean, not bald, but by our standards, his hairline would start way back there. Old age makeup was just a smear of oatmeal on the actors' faces. It certainly did look like that. Daniel says the Deadly Years is another fave of mine. As soon as I read the photo novel when I was a kid, I had to see this one and I wasn't let down. No disappointment. A photo novel, that's cool. I don't know what that is, but
You never had like any of those books as a kid where like they took like a movie or something and they had like pictures from the movie.
Sort of made it a comic, but with photographs.
I had those for some of the Star Trek movies, like for Star Trek, I think for Wrath of Khan and Star Trek 3, and I think I still have them, but with records that you put on, and it would like...
Oh, yeah, they did those too,
like
but
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff like that in the 70s and 80s. They were really big on that type of stuff.
Shatner let his hairline be taken back a little too. I guess if it's true that he wore a wig, then they just moved it back.
Oh yeah.
He had a wig all throughout the original series, and apparently they had lost the wig that he wore in season 1, so he has a different wig in season 2. But I can't really. They look the same to me.
Well,
Did
toupee,
they-
a toupee,
Toupee, not
slightly
wig. Yeah.
different, but yes.
Did they lose it, or did someone set fire to it?
Or
George
someone
Takei,
stole it.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
you,
I think
that.
You mean George Takei got hold of it and burnt it? You mean?
Burnt it. This is the episode where we find out how old Kirk is. Oh yeah, what was his age? We were able to zero in
34.
on it. 34.
I'm
That's right.
34 years old.
Man,
Yeah.
it feels weird to be older than Captain Kirk, but that's just life. Like I looked up to him all my youth, and now I'm older than him.
Kirk was acting too mentally impaired for someone at 60.
Yeah, he should have been. He'd be going into space at 90 and still
90,
conducting
it's
10
true.
interviews a day and going to a convention in New York. And yeah, they had a different view of elder when you became elderly back then.
Yeah.
It's true. We're all aging better. I love it. Obsession, the
Great episode.
space cloud, the deadly space cloud, and Kirk's obsession with it.
Yeah, this is where we get the name drop of the Farragut for the first time, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I like this episode. I do like this one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think that guest star who does Garavik. Well, I know Sohail, you're
Yeah.
fond of him.
That's my TOS husband so far. Hasn't been dethroned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally. He might be my all Star Trek husband. I'm not sure, but Trek on the Tube made a cute video. I don't have it handy of the two of us. I'll try to upload it before the discussion of this episode finishes. But yeah, I love this episode.
Yeah.
Spock's solution is funny, even though he he tries to block the vents with his hands, and it doesn't really.
Well, it was his green blood in the end, wasn't it? It was his green blood.
Again,
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to. This is more of the bad multitasking. I apologize. What were you saying? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying about, obviously it was his green blood, wasn't it? McCoy says it was his green blood that left a bad taste for the crowd.
Yeah,
because obviously it's copper, isn't it? The copper, the Vulcans, hence the green,
Right.
as opposed to iron for us. But,
I finally. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go on now. So go on.
No, I was gonna say this is the.
there
That's
you
it.
go.
This is the video. I don't know what's happening to me there. The last part there. Let's see here. Obsession holds the record for most
Oh,
redshirt
really?
deaths. There's actually a chart.
More
for
than the
redshirt
Apple.
deaths, and this is the top. Yeah, apparently.
Okay, yeah, I guess it would, but I bet the Apple's number 2, and then probably Devil in the Dark's number 3.
Well, this one shouldn't count Mr. Leslie because he comes back from the dead. So,
Which was apparently explained in a scene that was
that's what Eddie
In the
Paskin
s-
said. But I
okay.
I don't know if that's for sure. McCoy gave him some mystery magic potion, because then that's sort of, well, why isn't this being? I mean, I understand why it'd be cut, or it's certainly nothing was filmed. I think.
Yeah, they
just-
didn't film it, but he said it. We can confirm that because if you go to
Yeah.
the Roddenberry site, they have all of the final versions of the scripts.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I think that's verifiable.
Yeah. Yes, Starfleet Boy, you are losing it. It's true. I lose control very easily. It's hard to multitask. I apologize. This one ain't bad. Good, but another middle of the road one. Obsession is one of my least favorite episodes. It goes nowhere and never gets a callback to Kirk's back history mentioned in Obsession. We can. What was it?
Farragut.
The Farragut
Farragut.
disaster. Maybe we could see a flashback to it in Strange. No, I'm just kidding. We can't. But yeah, the idea of this was another one that had like a Moby Dickish kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
I always
Alright.
thought the Kirk or Shatner was better acting obsessed in Conscience of the King than in this one.
It's another
I don't know. This one. I mean, this is not a bad. I think it's kind of a middle of the road. It's okay. It's enjoyable. It's not bad, but I
I remember
like it's not
it's
quite as
setting
good.
up that relationship of like Bones and Spock kind of keeping him in check,
Mhm.
like being his anchor, if you will, to balance him out,
Yeah.
So that was cool. Oh, cool! Thanks, Jill, for posting the link to. So it's a X asterisk Sienta database redshirt. If you could send that to me in a PM as well, so I can just keep it on hand. I'd like to look at that at some point. Robbie, do you remember this episode? Do you have any thoughts on this one?
No, I don't think I was part of the discussion for this one.
We'll move on to Wolf in the Fold, the one where Scotty and several people are possessed by the spirit
the Ripper.
of Jack the Ripper. Yeah.
Keslak, Baradas.
Yeah.
I love this one. It doesn't age terribly well, but I think this is the if you want to watch like scary Star Trek episodes, this is like one of the better horror episodes. You have like a bunch of like creepy imagery, like when you see Scotty with the red hands and the knife. The ship gets haunted by Red Jack. That's a lot of fun. Just like when it's screaming on the intercom, like die, die, die. You have the voice of Piglet from Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
So that's fun.
That's right.
It'd be cool if they, just for continuity, just me being like a continuity nerd, it would have been cool if they had just named this planet was Sherman's pleasure planet that was mentioned in the Man Trap, just
That's
to connect
right.
it to that. Or if
Wrigley's pleasure.
or Wrigley's.
Wrigley.
Okay. Sherman's planet was from the Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah.
Or if they had taken the name of this planet, I forget it, but if they had used it for Ryza in the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and stuff, because this just could have been like their little vacation planet, because there's like a society dedicated to like recreation and pleasure and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't age terribly well. It's probably they're a little too defensive of Scotty when he's like, oh yeah, like all these women are being murdered, and like, well, surely our friend Scotty didn't do it. It's like well, maybe at this point, like, you should take this threat like a little bit more seriously, because maybe he is, and some stuff like that I think doesn't age great. But yeah, and this was Robert Bloch, right? It was
Same as Castle.
so a much better episode, and I think if you want a Halloween episode of Star Trek, you can easily go with this instead of Cat's Paw.
Is this the first time we hear from that he's from Aberdeen as well?
Yes. He's an Aberdeen pub crawler.
Only time, really.
Because he's telling me, because obviously he's telling the guy from Aberdeen on how to do, because he's doing that, and the rest of them say, "No, you got to flash the light," and he said, "No, you don't tell me how to." Woman, yeah.
Daniel says, I enjoy Wolf in the Fold, where Piglet ends up being Red Jack.
Yeah.
Arthur says, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, it is a cool idea of this idea of an alien that's living among us and has lived among us sort of without our knowing it for many centuries. And just when man went out into space, that thing must have followed or must have gone with it or something.
Yeah.
And then I think I agree this is a better Halloween episode than Cat's Paw for sure.
Yeah.
There's a great line where Spock says, women are more easily and more deeply terrified, generating more sheer horror than the male of the species.
Yeah, see, stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of that doesn't hold up.
Cat's Paw #1 Halloween episode.
Wow.
Hashtag no sexism.
Arthur, going back to our previous slide, Arthur says it could be a Strange New Worlds episode as Enterprise comes to the Farragut's rescue. Yeah, I don't mind. I think that'd be cool. Maybe it's a good way to get.
They can't do that because they can't have Pike and Kirk meet until Pike's promoted to fleet captain.
They won't meet.
Thank you.
They won't. They don't have to meet. We just have to see him. They don't actually have to meet. We just have to see the character.
On a
There needs to be a love scene
computer
between Pike
screen.
and Kirk.
Wait, what's that?
See him
What was that?
on a computer screen or a clipboard.
Or check into the Enterprise, as a survivor or whatever, but not necessarily.
No, just leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
They not only need to meet, but they need to have an extended love scene.
No.
Duan is great in this episode. Creepy episode. From the author of Cycle also, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Robert Bloch. Oh, and they originally considered using Sulu for this episode, but they decided that they liked James Doohan's acting more than Takei's, and which I don't know if that's fair to George Takei. I think they both were good, but in season 3, they do give James Doohan more. They had kind of figured out that, okay, we have our top 3 guys, but Scotty is our number 4 guy. And if they had gone on to like a season 4, I don't know, maybe James Doohan would have had his name in the title sequence too.
Yeah, it's true. Scotty gets a lot of great moments this season for sure that I can recall. So yeah, and now we have the Trouble with Tribbles. I mean, iconic episode, very funny.
Yeah.
Fantastic episode. And so different. We were just talking about how we liked Wolf in the Fold. This is a radically tonal shift from that, and it's part of my favorite thing about Star Trek is the flexibility of the type of stories you can tell. You can go to this planet and tell this creepy murder story, and then go to the space station and have like this fun triple adventure.
Yeah. I mean, to actually sort of inject more humour into this one, where obviously you wouldn't have had it in the previous one, it is good, and also, as we all know, brilliantly used in Trial and Tribulations.
Yeah,
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
that's one of the coolest things in the entire 55-year history of the franchise was revisiting this. It still blows my mind how well they pulled that off.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Absolutely. Yeah. But no, I think I do enjoy. I would I'd be surprised if there are people that don't like this episode, because obviously
Gene Roddenberry.
Gene
That's
Roddenberry
true.
does not
Yeah, well.
like this
Yeah, he
episode.
thought
I
it, he
mean,
thought it
it's
was
not
too
one of
silly.
I have a written down as a 5 out of 10 on mine. It's not
Oh,
one of
you
my
gave it a
favorites.
5 when we. Do you
Yeah,
still
I
feel
don't
that
really
way?
like these kind of episodes. They're
Oh,
just
wow.
pointless to me. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, you're
okay. Like it's
definitely-
entertaining, but it's not.
Yeah, you're definitely in the middle.
Well, obviously,
I
there
prefer
was
the Deep
Gene
Space Nine
Roddenberry
version.
too.
That's funny.
This does kind of inspire Deep Space Nine because it's the first time that we see these space station bases. We
Yeah.
get space dock in Star Trek 3, but so but the fact that like it has like this bar on there that like the Klingons and the Federation and everyone might meet, and that's very much the heart of the concept of Deep Space Nine. So in
Yeah.
some ways it is kind of the spiritual. What's his name? The Tribble dude.
Oh, Cyrano Jones.
Ronald Jones.
Cyrano Jones, yes, of course. He's not unlike a certain Ferengi bartender who we see, hustling some people, trying to
Yeah,
swindle
he-
folks. So.
He even kind of has a similar fashion sense there. That's
Oh,
true.
William,
That's
and
funny.
William Campbell's back in this one as well, isn't he? As Koloth.
Yep.
Yep.
We get
Yeah,
the
so
great,
we get Koloth.
yeah, and we get the
Yeah.
great bar fight with Scotty and all that humor. Yeah, there's a lot of good moments. Smooth Citation
That's-
Operator says, I'm going to have to give The Trouble with Tribbles a 10 out of 10 as well for just pure fun. Arthur says, Roddenberry did not like this or a piece of the action. Oh, wow.
That's correct.
And a
Yeah.
big reason Gene Kuhn left the series.
Yeah, well, obviously he didn't have anything to steal from anybody on this one.
I love the DS9 Triple episode. It's done really well. Yes, totally agree, Jace. I don't like Wolf in the Fold either. I'm not sure which is worse, Wolf in the Fold or Obsession. I enjoy Catspaw
Wow.
more than Obsession and Wolf in the Fold.
Woohoo!
Catspaw.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. Yeah. But
Tribbles have gone on to become like just synonymous with Star Trek. Like it's something that people who casually know Star Trek, if you show them a Tribble, they're like, oh yeah, it's a thing from
Yeah.
Star Trek, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So
Yeah, David Gerald often talks about how shocked he was that they became as iconic as they did. He thought this would just be an episode that aired one time and then got a rerun in the summer as he tells the story. And then, people would just kind of forget Tribbles. But no, it's like in fact, I have just a few feet away from me, I have a couple Tribbles that I just leave sitting on my couch. They're just always there.
That's awesome. I think Uhura sells it. She's the one. That's the reason why everyone wants a Tribble. Like,
Yeah.
they just seem like it was.
yeah, and that's
I
another
think
point
this,
about.
I
Oh,
was gonna
just,
say,
go on,
sorry,
go on.
Adam.
No, go
I
on,
was
go on.
gonna say this- I was going to say, obviously, Christopher's saying he doesn't like this one. He doesn't like. I think this is what's so good about Star Trek. Different people are going to enjoy different episodes.
Oh
And,
yeah.
it doesn't, and that's the good thing about it is you don't have to say no. You've got to like this episode. Then this is where discussions that we have. None of us think the same episodes are the best episodes. We all
Yeah.
have different opinions, and that's what's so great about it. And that's why we're still talking about it and watching it 55 years later.
Yeah.
One might even say infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
If one wanted to sell something for Lincoln Enterprises, one might.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I like your comment, Fathery, about just the flexibility of the format with this, in general. And part of the reason that's successful is these actors, the principal actors, are really good. I mean, Shatner, Nimoy, Kelly, they could do comedy, they could do subtle comedy, they could do broad comedy, they could do intense drama, they could do, action. Well, Nimoy was pretty hopeless at like physical action in terms of it's always his stunt double. The flexibility of the concept, being able to do horror, comedy, or galaxies in danger, action adventure, or just like a character story. That's what's so great about this show.
Right on. Wow. I love all this. The Gamesters of Triskelion. This was a good episode.
Lady Gaga's mum.
With that?
Lady Gaga's mum.
Yeah, Lady Gaga's mom. That's true.
Some really
in like space diapers.
some really interesting themes in this episode, which I wish had been touched on a bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't like that Kirk just leaves Lady Gaga.
Yeah. But she
Well,
does.
there's also that bit, wasn't there? Obviously, it wasn't really shown, but that was obviously the abuse of Uhura.
Yeah.
Oh
in
right.
this
That
yeah.
that picture is Lady Gaga, one of the B-52s, and a vampire, I guess.
And Dracula, yeah.
Yeah, Dracula.
Speaking of
I don't know. Maybe he's
Halloween-
Nosferatu because he's bald. Yeah. Yeah. Dracula often has hair.
Ming
Never
the
seen a bald
Merciless.
Dracula.
Being the Merciless, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Which could have been, like, I guess, an inspiration of the old Flash Gordon serial. That would have been a
Oh, right on.
thing in
Yeah.
people's minds, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
possible.
I
This is
remember
another
Smooth
middle-of-the-road
Contagion
episode to
Operator.
me.
What was that?
This is another middle-of-the-road kind of 5-ish out of 10-ish episode for me. It's fun, but
I agree with Smooth Station Operator that she found it distressing.
Yeah, I remember that was pretty powerful scene, where they abuse Uhura basically. But overall, I think this episode was interesting. It had like, I liked all the Barbarella style, costumes and stuff like that, and the harness. Of course, I feel like this is where the harness was born. That is now.
it's probably my best costume for.
Yeah, it was also one of your best
Season 2.
costumes. Ruben,
Oh, right.
Ruben showed up in the harness. That's right. I should have taken bad Starfleet boy. I should have taken screenshots of all your different costumes and popped them up here with this. But no,
That's right. Season 3
what-
cometh.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And the budget
Anything-
goes down.
Anything else on Gamesters? We have a couple of comments about it. Oh, this is cool. Arthur says at a convention in New York, the actress appeared in costume on stage. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yes, Ming the Merciless. Ming's costume reminds me of one of the Peter Gabriel stage costumes from the time singing with Genesis. That's funny. In the Lower Decks episode, Embarrassment of Duplers was an homage to the Triple episode. In a way, I think it was. It was a very similar thing going on there. Very cool. Do you guys remember what episode comes after Gamesters?
Yep. Piece of the action.
A piece of the action. That's right. One
I
of my
dressed up
favorite
for that
episodes-
one.
That's right. And Dom Paris, this is his all-time favorite episode of Star Trek, if I'm not mistaken. And we had the pleasure of his company, so that was really nice. But yeah, this is a great episode. It's a wild episode. It's another one of these like planets that are very similar to Earth, but I like the gangster style stuff going on, and the kid who says, "I just want a piece of the action." It's like...
I already loved it, but I remember Dom just selling me on the episode for the whole stream.
Yeah, totally. Omnix is a great character. I think these guys, yeah, it's just like a really it works. It's an absurd concept, but it actually works.
One of the better.
There's the fedora.
Parallel earthy.
There we go.
Hold on,
The one that's probably going to appear on the cruise.
Hold on 1 second here. There we go.
Hey.
Yeah. So that one's that's because obviously we've got on the cruise. There's a piece on the holodeck for this one. So
Yeah,
I'll be
I don't know if I'm
dressing
going
up
to
like
dress up for that or not.
that. I am. Yeah. mean,
Arthur says
I-
this
I-
was
I-
to be the
yeah.
backstory for Quentin Tarantino's Trek movie. Is that right?
Yeah,
I didn't-
Tarantino is
we
going to do
probably-
like the Kelvin version of this planet.
Oh.
Have you read the oh blimey, the book with gee whiz from Picard, the Serena.
Oh, yeah, that one that just came out with
Rios and
Yeah.
Christopher Rios. So many there's lots of Iosians in that book
Oh.
from this. So there is an awful lot of it, as I said, the Iosians.
So
and
we
it's really-
catch up
it's
with the
really-
Iosians in
Yeah.
somewhat modern times, I guess. That's
Yeah,
cool.
in
Yeah,
modern
in Picard
times in
time,
the
obviously, 'cause
24th
it's-
century.
Yeah, because obviously you've got with the book. Sorry to digress. You've got this takes Rios after he's left Starfleet, and he's looking, and he gets the Serena, and obviously he buys it from the Iotians and all that. So it's a really good book, and you know, they really do go to town on this one, because you find out that there is a second book that obviously they've got there, because obviously it's the Mob of Chicago, where the other ones, the second book is the Gangs of New York.
Oh,
So yeah, if you've not read the book, I would say read it.
Check it out.
Give it a go. Yeah, because it is a very, very good book.
next up we got the Immunity Syndrome. The crew of the Enterprise encounters an energy-draining space creature on their way to Starfleet Command Base 6. This is the Space Amoeba. Great
Amoeba.
episode. I think the remaster on this one works really well. Like, I really loved all the new footage and just the way that they brought that updated, you know, the original special effects and stuff like that. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
And it
always
was
a favorite.
Yeah, and it's like wild. It's like a space amoeba. It's like it was huge. It was like this thing could like suck a solar system up into its gigantic.
Yeah, no, I mean, in some
membranes.
there was some chatter about it on Twitter the other day. I forget the name of the guy. Bad Socialism is his handle. Yeah, this is. I mean, in some ways, this is kind of warmed over Doomsday Machine, but the interactions between the three characters are so great. I mean, some of those McCoy Spock moments are awesome. The idea of a space amoeba is just cool. I mean, whatever you think of it. You know, it's even though there's no guest star, I mean, the effects are the guest star. The amoeba is the guest star, and it's basically a very, very much a bottle show. It's really entertaining, and
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it.
Shout out to Bad Socialism and Olivia. I forget what her current handle is, but they host I Quit Star Trek Pod.
Right.
So
Yeah.
check that out. It's fun. But yeah. What else? Who else? What did you guys think of this episode?
I don't really have any strong feelings on it.
About it.
Yeah, it's one that I always watch, and I'm never really excited for it, but I never really like dread it either. It's just kind of a
It's kind of a middle of the road one
There's
for you.
a lot of the character stuff is there, but I don't know if I don't find the story that engaging. I kind of like some of the '60s version, like the special effects, but you know, if you watch it on streaming, it's going to be like the modern remastered stuff, and I don't know if I like it enough to bust out the Blu-ray disc and stick that in. So.
I am
yeah,
looking
it's an
forward
okay
to
episode.
the newer Blu-ray release that's going to come out. Not Blu-ray, the 4K release that's coming out, which will be back.
What are you talking about?
There's a TOS release coming out, right? The 4K, or no? What am I confused about that?
That's
No,
news to me. They're doing
thought
the
it was
motion
just
picture
DMP.
director's cut.
Yeah.
What did I? Oh, sorry.
They were just
everyone.
repackaging it with new art, the TOS seasons.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Well, I'll have to get that because I don't have TOS on Blu-ray. So
You should.
Father keeps reminding me that if you want these things to come out, you gotta buy them. You gotta support those efforts. So yeah.
I just use the VHS tapes I bought at Walden Books. That works for me.
I have bought every episode of the original series on VHS one time, on DVD one time, and on Blu-ray twice. So
Yeah, you have a true archive. I didn't know Walden
I think
Books
I'm
sold
set.
videos. That's cool.
Yeah, they
Not-
did for a little while.
The local, I missed that part. We had a Walden Books Superstore. Do you remember that, Ruben? It was like huge. It was amazing before there was
Before Barnes and Nobles
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Now, remember
And it's-
Hastings? Is Hastings still a thing?
I don't know what that is.
we had
Oh, I guess not.
Walden Books, and we had B. Dalton.
B. Dalton. Yeah.
Smooth Citation Operator barely remembers Immunity Syndrome. Daniel says, I agree with Fathery. And Arthur says, and this is true, Obi-Wan ripped off some of the dialogue, almost if not verbatim, from the one in the first
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars. A great
Yeah, it gives
disturbance
us
in
the
Force
Intrepid.
indeed. Yeah.
Well, you know, George
A
Lucas.
full Vulcan ship, right? The Intrepid.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
point of Star Wars, that it is like a ripoff of so many other things. Like, yeah, there's some Star Trek in there. There's also like a lot of Dune. There is a lot of westerns. There's a lot of a whole lot of Akira Kurosawa. There's a lot of like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon 1930s serial stuff. So yeah, Star Wars is basically just like a big pop cultural ripoff. Yeah.
Hodgepodge.
We move on to Private Little War. Another wild episode with the Mugatos, which, funny enough, have reappeared on Star Trek Lower Decks, and we've got some new insight into the lives of Mugatos or Gamatos or Mugatus or however you want
Gumatos or
yeah, however you want to say it. But I had fun watching this episode. I thought it was cool. It had some interesting concepts. We get the Klingons again. This time they're basically outfitting this peaceful. These peaceful beings with weapons and upsetting the balance, and so Kirk has
Vietnam allegory.
Yeah, exactly, and so Kirk has to come in and do the same for his tribe, if you will. So yeah,
and the introduction for me of probably the most beautiful woman in Star Trek, Nancy Kovac, as Nona.
Yeah.
What Nona wants, Nona gets, and she gets it in the end. It's true.
Yeah, I was very taken with her as a kid.
Yeah, I still am.
And yeah, I was about to say and still to this day.
Yeah. And we've also got that route. Don't forget the route.
You
have
the maca route.
You have to mix with your blood.
Yeah.
If y'all check out the Trek Yards YouTube channel, they recently Stuart Foley did a Mugato survival video. And it's kind of cheesy, like he's there in like uniform, like as if he's addressing like a classroom of cadets at the academy. But no, he has like some cool insights into there. He's like taking stuff out of the what was that, the Starfleet Medical Journal or whatever that came out many years ago, and recently David Mack, I think, did a Starfleet training guide or survival guide, so he took stuff out of that. But one of the things, according to that, is when you make that cure for the Mugato bite with your blood and the root that you mix together, you have to use iron-based blood. So sorry, Vulcans, but you can't make a Mugato venom antidote with your green copper-based blood.
Good. That's interesting to know. Very cool. We'll have to check that out.
Now I know the way to kill Vulcan is just drop a few Mugatos on there.
Or use red matter.
Red matter.
Or use red matter. Yeah, so was that.
Nichelle, a smooth cetacean opera said Nichelle Nichols as Uhura is the most beautiful woman in Trek to me. That's very sweet. I kind of agree with that. She's so beautiful. But she's beautiful reoccurring. We're talking about the most beautiful guest star on Star Trek. A couple of good TOS bloopers from this one. What was it? Other than McCoy flubbing up the lines? Trying to remember the bloopers.
I'm not sure that's on. There's film of him flubbing the lines. I know there's some sequence they edited together of Nancy Kovac kind of bathing in the waterfall, but making it anyway. But
whoa,
yeah,
where do I find that?
I want to see that.
It's all G-rated, but I love this episode. I don't know why I like it so much, but I guess there's one reason on the screen. But I like that the ending. I like that the ending is ambiguous. I like that they can't tie it up in a bow, and this planet is left in this kind of not great place, but they don't really have good options. So I think that ambiguity is interesting.
Yeah,
and the Mugato is just so cool. That is a cool creature. I love the Mugato.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool. Next, we have Return to Tomorrow with Diana Muldaur and Sargon and that whole
her
thing.
First of 3 Star Trek characters she will play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool episode. I like this episode a lot. I thought it was pretty cool.
Very famous Kirk speech came from it.
Risk is our business.
Risk is our business, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a nice vehicle for Leonard Nimoy to just play a real prick and do that. He does very well in that role. You really dislike Enoch or Henoch.
Henoch, yeah.
Yeah, but he's also allowed to show emotion in this one, isn't he? Because obviously he's not Spock per se. But yeah, I like it. I think this is one of his better episodes. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down we get to see Nimoy smiling and acting cocky and fun. Also, young Diana Muldaur. Those are the high points. It's slow and interesting.
Robbie, anything to say on this one?
I remember we had a long discussion about the aliens being stored, how long they'd lived, all sorts of interesting things, and I think this was a good one. I loved Kirk's speech. That was one I put down for.
One of your quotes, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Kirk was just on the ball this whole episode, actually.
Yeah, he was great. You could feel the transformation when he would become Sargon, and yeah, I love.
And
his
we get
moments.
that iconic GIF of
Which
Kirk,
one?
Captain Kirk, where it's the one where he's kind of
Oh yeah, his lungs filling with air again.
Yeah.
Blood starting to pump. Yeah, yeah. What you can see in this episode is you're starting to reach that point in the second season where now Gene Kuhn is left, and the episodes are getting more serious, or if you prefer, a little stodgier here and there. There's getting to be less instances of humor, and it's becoming a slightly different show, and that would continue into the third season.
We speculated. We came up with some kind of weird connection that could be possible for this character and Dr. Pulaski to be related, but I don't remember if it held any weight or anything like that. But yeah, awesome episode. And then after this, we've got Patterns of Force, which is a wild episode with basically an anthropologist gone mad and experimenting with a whole civilization and bringing back Nazism because it was very successful or something like that. Very successful at being terrible. But yeah, it was another interesting episode. I remember there being some really great moments in this episode, especially I guess the shirtless bits. I'm a sucker for that.
Is this the first time they prove that Spock has green blood?
Green blood
See
with
the
no, because when he gets shot in
Oh yeah,
Private War, yeah. He has
And
yeah,
even-
then Mbenga had to patch him up.
yeah.
And actually, the first time they mention it in the Man Trap, he has little green rings from where the creature had attacked him, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
didn't like it. So yeah,
Arthur's taking a jab at Texans. They love this one in Texas. I can't enjoy anything with Nazis. Yeah, it's hard to enjoy stuff with Nazis. They still trigger a lot of people, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone here who loves this episode, but
yeah.
Yeah,
Arthur's
fuck yourself.
just joking. Arthur's joking.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one to love, but it's got some elements in it which are good. But you know, definitely when you've got Nazis and that bit,
I don't love it, but it's a
you're
really
not.
good episode. It's very well paced compared to
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember
the
we
pace
talked
on it's
about
very
that,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
and it does a lot in its time, as opposed to some episodes that are just like this could be 20 minutes, not 45.
I love the idea of Kirk and Spock having to, fight Nazis, but I kind of just hate the contrivance of how this Nazi planet came into existence. I wish that this would have been a time travel episode where they were actually back during
In
World
Nazi
War
Germany,
II,
yeah.
fighting real It just the idea that the Nazis were so defeated in real life and real history that just a couple of decades later there's this TV show and these two Jewish actors running around in Nazi uniforms.
talked
It's just
about that, that's right.
yeah, if you go back in time to Germany in 1940, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, that's how we're gonna end up. That's
they
not
did
great.
time travel. They fought the Nazis by letting the truck run over Edith Keeler. So that's how
Oh.
they did it.
There you go.
But
No.
no, this always seems very much like a '60s episode, and because there was so many World War II, they were just reliving World War II stuff in the '60s. There's so many so much literature, so much stuff came out where they're kind of rehashing.
Well, they were the villain of the time. We had
Yeah.
Russians in
Yeah.
the 80s. We had
Yeah.
Muslims in the early aughts in movies. You know what I mean? They were the villain of the time.
Yeah, and a lot of people, who would have been watching Star Trek at home, would have actually been servicemen. And a lot of people,
Absolutely.
writing the episodes I
Yeah.
think both genes served in the war.
Yep.
I think when Star Trek has went to the past, they've missed a bit of a trick with not maybe showing more horrible historical people and having a message centered around that, because I think you can hate someone morally but still have them in an episode and it be good, because you're analyzing that character and you're exploring the mistakes of our history.
Well, you get that great character study of Genghis Khan in The Savage Curtain, where he throws a couple rocks. So, yeah.
I generally don't like the parallel Earth thing, and I wish they would have just gone to a planet that was very Nazi-like, and we would have gotten the picture, you know. Because I'm just not a fan of the parallel Earth thing. You know, it always good. That always brings it down a notch to me when it's like a parallel Earth thing.
Yeah, I think.
but
I
love
mean,
this
I think they
episode.
could have shown fascism without like. But I mean, obviously.
But
we
you
know
had
it was,
all
like-
these Nazi uniforms from
Yeah,
all
that's
the
what I was
World
gonna
War
say.
II movies you were
that's
making.
exactly why it ended up happening
Well,
the way
yeah,
it
I
did.
mean,
It was-
you know,
the
you
budget
have
kind
those
of dictated
backlots.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They
honestly,
kept them in the same warehouse as the Roman gladiator uniforms
Right.
And a piece of the action
and
uniforms.
also like the gangster clothes. So you had all that
And Western,
wardrobe.
It's true. It's a good
and
point.
honestly, this may have been one of the episodes that they had to not make quickly, but there was a period there mid-season where they weren't sure they were even going to be picked up, not even for a third season, but for the second half of the second season. And they, without having the, I forget exactly the story, but without being officially picked up, they couldn't put out script assignments. So they had to come up with a couple ideas very quickly and get them in the pipeline. This might have been one of them, but.
I remember from our discussion finding out that Leonard Nimoy was supposed to go to like a service or something like that. And he didn't want to be photographed. He was very careful about not wanting to be photographed in the uniform and stuff like that. So that stood out to me. Fun will now commence says this is a profound, thought-provoking commentary on historical events. This was not aired in Germany initially. I don't know if we realized that. We might have mentioned that in the.
Yeah, I think we did
Yeah, I
mention
think we
it.
did
Yeah.
mention that.
Yeah.
I have in my final thought, this is top-notch Star Trek. It moves.
By any other name.
This is a fun one.
This is a fun one. We
With
get
the Kelvins,
iconic-
the original Kelvins.
the original Kelvin. That's true. And we love wins. This is what changes everyone's mind at the end, and gets the Andromedans to realize that they have friends here in the Milky Way galaxy. And Scotty gets to drink a lot.
And that's something that you couldn't have had George Takei do as Sulu. That was that's just like a Scotty thing. He defeats his alien by drinking it to death. Spock outsmarted his alien. Kirk seduced his alien, and Scotty drank his under the table. It was the perfect divide and conquer using their strengths. That's what I like when they were able to do like the character centric type stuff.
Barbara Boucher.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Barbara Boucher, right?
Yeah, Miss Moneypenny from.
I remember this episode reminding me of Batman 66. No, Batman the film.
Yeah, 66
with
Batman movie. Yeah.
yeah.
I have that in my notes too.
Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid, it was confused me. Because I thought it was like, is this connected to the Batman movie somehow?
Oh, the way that they dehydrate
Yeah,
people
yeah,
into
yeah,
like
yeah.
these little, instead of like a little pile of dust, it's these little cubes or whatever
Yeah.
I
little
didn't
No
like
chip
this
that
difference.
was.
episode. My final thought here, I wrote, it's interesting because now rewatching all these episodes again, this is the first one that I found annoying. Another set of gods in human form wanting to steal the Enterprise. Too much talking, too much music, this ridiculous thing of using emotions against super beings. I give it a cat's paw.
In Deep Space Nine, Dax mentions that Worf had battled Kelvins twice his size. And when these things take like their true shape, they're supposed to be like
Yeah.
this 10-foot tall monster
Tentacles.
With
tentacles.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see one visualized or if it's just funner to imagine what they look like. But I'd love to see more references to them. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is not the first red shirt death, but the first red skirt death.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the gal who dies in Wolf in the Fold is in a blue blue miniskirt, right? Yeah.
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 Smooth Cetacean Operator. Confuse the Aliens episode. I want to go drinking with Scotty, says Arthur.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be really fun. The dehydrated humans scared me it scared me as a kid too, more than anything else in Trek as a child, as a kid. So yeah, I remember that being like a thing that freaked me out too, like turning into the cube and someone could crush you before you could get rehydrated. Anything else on this episode?
Yeah, I never thought that humans would turn into polystyrene dodecahedrons.
I guess
They played D&D with the crew later.
I like that. That's roll for a D12 for damage.
All right, Spock. You're not a Vulcan, Spock. I told you, you're a druid human who can shape
Level
change
2
into
thief.
bears.
The only other thing to say about that episode is there's two pieces of continuity in it with the galactic barrier at the edge of the galaxy, and then when Spock references in Taste of Armageddon, where with I can't even remember the aliens right now, where he does the same thing, try to use telepathy on the guard at the jail cell, and in this case it's Barbara Boucher. But yeah,
Oh, right.
anyhow.
Right on. Next up, the Omega Glory, where we find out that Spock can seduce women with his powers, among other things. No, we get this one's interesting. We get another Captain Gone Crazy. What was the name of the captain?
Tracy.
Ron
Tracy.
Ron Tracy.
Morgan
that's
Woodward.
Right. That's right. Who this is his second appearance. He was on. He played
Van Gelder in
Dr.
Dagger of the
Van
Mind.
Gelder,
yeah, where he does crazy really well.
Yeah. This one's very similar to Bread and Circuses. I think I pointed that out when we talked about it, but I don't remember if I brought this up or not. But the fight scene when Kirk is locked up with the two Yangs, and he's kind of like joking with Spock back and forth as he's trying to fight them, and they're joking about how like, oh yeah, like one of them can rest while the other one fights you. It seems like a real efficient technique and stuff. It was odd in the original series to have like that level of levity during one of the action moments. They normally always played the action as like really serious and really dangerous, and so that's kind of a unique moment in the original series.
Yeah,
I think
except for maybe Finnegan.
Oh yeah, I
but
suppose.
it's not how it's not. That wasn't too serious. I mean, and it was in. Yeah, and it does stick out as a little unusual in this episode. This is an episode we talked about this pretty recently, and most people don't like it, but I think it's better than people think it is. I think a lot of people, it's just the ending for reasons that are understandable turns people off, but a lot of what's going on up until then is good, and I think Morgan Woodward is just great in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's a solid episode. It's just
my
that
memory
it
of
kills
this one is our discussion is actually a certain person's, shall we say, their cosplay in this one. Cloud William wasn't Cloud William, was it?
Oh yeah, Cloud.
Right.
You were like that's right. That was great. That's what I remember about it too.
And my review at the end.
Oh Christ, yeah. No, it had me
Yeah.
hysteric. Yeah.
Blue says I love the
that
speech
read
at
my
the end.
immortal line. How the do I follow that? Yeah.
Even if it was oddly patriotic for future people toward the USA. I mean, I guess because Kirk would know his history, right? Like he was born in.
Is the United States going to be remembered favorably in 300 years?
Maybe in the 60s people thought it would be, but nowadays I don't think people are gonna think of it that way. But...
It would be interesting to see how countries like the US, UK, all these countries are going to be remembered. When to jump forward in the future and just see what people think of these
Star Trek
countries.
is certainly reverential towards the United States, Britain, France, like in pretty much every country. I think it's maybe not Australia, because somehow Australia, or is it New Zealand, becomes a penal colony or something like that. So
it was Australia that was the penal colony.
So that's like again, it's like
Wasn't Tom Paris in New Zealand?
It was
Wasn't
New
Tom
Zealand,
Paris?
yeah. I think
Oh
it was New
yeah,
Zealand,
in
yeah,
Star Trek and Star Trek New Zealand is the penal colony.
colony,
In real
yeah.
life,
Yeah.
it was
It
Australia.
was Australia.
It was Australia, yeah, but they put it in New Zealand in Star Trek.
Chris says, I like the introduction of Green in by any other name. This is one of the few aliens we see outside of the galaxy rather than someone inside. That's true. The Andromedans, the Kelvins. I think you might be a little behind, Chris, so hopefully you see that we, or maybe you just still want to talk about the other episode. Wasn't by any other name the first time we hear of an alien where they had tentacles like the aliens in Galaxy Quest. Yeah, I think we talked about that during the actual discussion, but I don't remember.
The first occurrence of the word tentacle in Star Trek.
Anything else about the Omega Glory? I just remember like how many people he killed with phasers. It was insane. It was like thousands. Like he
Drained the whole
drained the
phaser,
whole
shooting
phaser, like,
Yangs.
4 times or something like that, and they just kept coming. So
Yeah, it's like a total World War One reference, to like just machine gunning guys as they
Yeah.
come over the trench back and forth, and
yeah. The Ultimate Computer, very recent discussion. Now we're getting towards like discussions that didn't happen too long ago. But yeah, lots of fun. Daystrom, of course, classic. We get the M5 computer. We get like mad
Sense of the
scientists.
fleet. There's
Yeah, you get
multiple
the sense of the
ships.
fleet. Yep, exactly. A great space battle in the remastered version, and in the original one, I remember it being very tense as well. Just even with the copy paste shots that they had.
Yeah, if whole sister ships of the Enterprise can get destroyed, like shit is serious.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I wrote
The
here.
return
my-
of
Okay.
yeah, the return. They were saying it was going to be the return of Barry Russo as it was his second appearance, wasn't it, of Bob Wesley? But it was his second appearance in Star Trek.
That's
I
right.
wrote
this
here,
one.
great premise about facing automation. Still so insanely relevant today. Even more so.
Yeah.
Though the automation thing isn't really woven much into the episode later. The episode is entertaining. I give it only a half done so with a Daystrom meltdown.
I don't remember you giving it that rating during the show. These are more your notes are more delightful.
Because I might not read these on. I just write these just to remember what I was thinking in the moment, and
That's
then I'll
cool.
may make something up in the moment.
I like that you're bringing that in. That's a cool new element here. This was.
I think we were discussing. I think we just couldn't work out why somebody Daystrom would get an institute named after him because of everything that he caused and all the deaths that
Maybe
he
to
caused on the M5. That they gave him an institute named after him.
Maybe to remember not to make the same mistakes.
Maybe they named the institute right before the meltdown. And
Yeah, I was gonna say,
contractually it has to stay that name for like 500 years.
Or what about this? What about this? Tell me how Star Trekian this is. That he does have his breakdown and he does have to go to rehabilitation, but then decades later he's fully recovered. He's made amends and he has a continuation of his great career and does like more successful things.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's
very
good.
Trekkie.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's my headcanon now. This was one of the first stories written for the second pilot, where no man has gone before.
That was Omega Glory.
Oh, Omega
that
Glory.
He's
Gotcha,
talking
right,
about, I
right.
believe, not Ultimate Computer.
Every time the U.S. leads the world against fascism, historians will make note. Blackula lives. That's more apt to this episode. Yep, we talked about that.
Yeah, definitely.
The EU will have a positive role in the fight against fascism so far. The portrayal of Daystrom really freaked me out. Justice for nerds. That's right. Very cool. So yeah, Daystrom, the birth of Daystrom Institute. It's very cool. I like that what you came up with, Father.
And as I said, it's another episode of Kirk telling the computer to kill itself.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, I have one last thing about the Ultimate Computer I loved. Just there was a brief scene when Kirk, McCoy, and Spock were walking through the hallway into the turbo lift, and Spock was saying that McCoy was saying that no one would be able to replace Kirk, and that Kirk was thinking of maybe he should not be a captain, maybe he'll change or or transfer. And I loved one of Spock's lines where he said that computers may make excellent and efficient servants,
Oh, I think I
but he has no wish
Work
to
under them.
work under them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great moment.
I think
yeah,
I think
Kirk's-
that on that one, it's also where they're basically saying that being a captain is Kirk's first best destiny. I know they revisit it in the films, but I think this is the one as well where Spock becomes very much his supporter on that as well.
And we get a really great portrayal of Kirk losing his confidence from William Shatner. I remember that standing out and being, something cool. And yeah, it's good. It sets up that kind of dynamic that we see again in the films between the three of them, which is really nice. Thanks, Robbie. That was really cool. We got Bread and Circus is next. Another interesting episode. Another parallel type of situation where. Except in this case, the Roman Empire never fell. So it's a 20th century version of the Roman Empire with TV stations and
with televised gladiator
battles and all kinds of things like that. Like these cool T-shirts with the chains on them. And I remember the short shorts that what's his name wore. That's
Flavius Maximus.
Flavius Maximus.
Yeah. So,
but we get that great Kirk and McCoy scene when they're locked up behind bars.
Spock and McCoy,
whoever I said meant Spock and McCoy.
And the other captain was interesting. What was his name?
Merrick.
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 Merrick was an interesting character, and I love his sacrifice at the end. So it's a good, solid episode for me. I like this episode.
And it's a sequel. I was going to say it's a sequel to All Our Yesterdays, because this is where Mr. Atos went when he went back in time. He appeared on this planet, and that's this. It's the same guy, right? All right, inside.
Yeah, I think it's also. I think you're saying to McCoy, he said, "I'd just like to go on one planet." Going, I am the Archangel Gabriel.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Is this the only time something religious was in Star Trek before Deep Space Nine? I wonder.
I don't think so. We see a chapel very early in season 1, and the Balance of Terror.
Yeah, it's with the wedding, or the supposed wedding, wasn't it? Obviously, that never happened. Yeah.
Smooth Cetacean Operator says, "I hope Tal will tell us why he liked why he liked the scene with McCoy and Spock in the cell so much."
I don't remember what I said, but it's a great scene. I mean, it's a beautiful scene.
Yeah, because obviously it's the bit when McCoy's going on about feelings and worried about Kirk and things like that.
Yeah, no, it's a very sensitive scene.
Yeah, because you actually seen Spock actually just sort of that flash of just losing his temper when he's trying to open the gate, the door of the jail cell and testing the strength of the iron, and that's where it leads to the talk between McCoy and Spock.
I know maybe what.
Oh,
I know what she's talking about. Just that they played a clip of this scene. Maybe this is what she's talking about. They played this clip as a representative sample of Star Trek at the Smithsonian Star Trek exhibit back in the 90s when I volunteered there. Yeah, so I have very fond memories of it.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that, I believe.
Yeah. I do remember McCoy being extra antagonistic and kind of grumpy in this episode, especially towards Spock. He was kind of mean, we were saying, but then that scene where he kind of, again, he's also still being antagonistic, but it does resonate because basically he's calling Spock out, which is true.
Oh, didn't he have? I think McCoy said in this one that Spock wouldn't know what to do with a genuine, decent feeling because he has that.
It's the scene I was talking about.
That kind of balance between both his halves, and then he says he's constantly kind of battling.
Even though it would have made more sense if they had that in an episode that took place before Amok Time, because that's when Spock does have his big display of emotion.
Yeah.
I wrote here in my notes, I'm convinced that the Prime Directive is just written on a wall somewhere at Starfleet, and there's no actual class discussing what it means or best practices.
It's in the cubicle door. It's what
Yeah,
it is on
it's
the
just
back
like a
of the cubicle
poster.
door.
Like those inspirational posters, you know? And nobody even looks at it at Starfleet.
That's funny. I bet there's a lot of people that follow the Prime Directive, but yeah, I guess we do get a lot of stories where they have to break the Prime Directive on the Enterprise. And now we have it, Assignment Earth. We just talked about this episode. Gary 7 was going to be a spin-off. Another...
One last thing about Brendan
Oh,
Services, because I wrote down there was a 47 for Fathery in this episode. I didn't write down where it is. But
Yeah,
it said
there were
there's Fathery's
47 crew members on the merchant ship.
was
That
it,
Oh, right on. There's a bunch of 47s, I feel like, in this one, too. I couldn't remember, but there's, like, 47s are unintentionally sprinkled throughout the original series. My favorite Spock hat is this one. I really liked it. And we just talked about this episode, but just really, I guess, briefly, there were a couple flaws with it, but overall it was, I think, pretty fun.
Yeah. Obviously with the NASA shots that we were
great-
saying
the
about
great
it, wasn't
NASA
there?
stock footage, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
But at the time, that would have been new stuff.
Yeah, it would
That
have
would have looked
pretty
extremely
extremely
contemporary.
Contemporary, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still hope this becomes a series. It would be interesting. Like,
Still
Paramount
waiting.
Plus could do it, I guess.
Terry Gar is still available.
I don't know.
It's true.
IDW Comics.
Who would? I don't know. I don't know who would actually have the rights to this. I guess if they just, could legally framed it as like a spin-off of Star Trek, it would work. But I don't know if the original pitch that Roddenberry came up with, if it had its own copyright or anything before he started trying to sell it to. I don't know if he pitched it to anyone other than NBC or what was going on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
A random
Yeah.
cat.
Well, I think we also mentioned as well, Father, didn't we, that obviously they brought Gary 7 back in the comics
Yeah.
as well, in the IDW comics.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to make it today and not have it feel so similar to Doctor Who, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Fun will now commence says, after hearing a lot about Gary 7 as a first-time viewer of that episode, I found it underwhelming. It did not track well as a season finale. I think it it's, to me,
Yeah, I think if you
feel
take
like-
away the sonic pen thing he has and the teleporter machine, and just leave him with, he's an alien sent to Earth because something bad's happening. And these
Well, he's
aliens
actually an
protect the
Earthling
Earth.
that was...
Well,
was
sorry,
like-
yeah, he's an Earthling
Right.
contracted by these aliens to help Earth against some threat, and he has this high-tech apartment with a supercomputer, no pen, no teleporter, no cat that turns into a woman at will, or whatever the hell that was all about. Or
Maybe we'll
have the
see
cat,
Gary-
but make the cat an actual character, not just randomly. Make Terry Gar the cat. You know what I mean? Like his partner is a shape changer from that planet. I don't know. I think it could work.
Darren's in the audience, says Gary 7 was ahead of its time. Yeah, I think it was a little ahead of its time. Well, that concludes our recap. Thanks, gentlemen, for sticking through this whole thing with me. That was really fun to just recap season 2. Any final thoughts on season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we haven't said anything about the season as a whole.
Yeah.
We were just talking about each episode one by one. So I would add that while I don't think season 2 has the same overall quality that season 1 had, I think I personally prefer season 2 just because they really have the universe figured out at this point. They finally okay, we have the Federation. It's not an Earth ship, it's a Federation ship. It's not Espa or Yespa or however you say it. It's Starfleet. They're not Vulcanians, they're Vulcans, that type of stuff. They figured out, we need to make Dr. McCoy more important. They add, we lose Riley and Rand, but we get Chekhov. So we get Mbenga. So yeah,
He's gonna be in Strange New Worlds. It's so exciting that we're gonna get these characters come up again. It's cool.
sure, yeah, and Chapel as well.
Yeah.
So there's I guess probably not as much Chapel in season 2, but she's still around, so she made the cut.
New Hura, we're getting more with Hura. It's great. Yeah.
And I think my favorite episodes of season 2 actually do top my favorites of season 1. As much as I love season 1, I think season 1 is so good, but I think Journey to Babel is just like hard to beat. And Mirror Mirror and Amok Time, just yeah, I gotta give it to season 2.
Excellent.
Yeah, it really flushes out more of the world building for Star Trek in this season. Definitely, I think. Saying just following on what Father was saying, that I think you can safely say that Star Trek is definitely more established. With the tropes and everything else that we were going through for season 2, definitely, and yeah. It's an okay season. There's some highs, there's some lows, but generally it's a good season. Obviously, with the amount of episodes, but yeah, I've God knows how many times I've watched it, and I will continue to watch it.
Nice.
Because it's my Star Trek, because that's what I grew up with. So
yes, same here for a lot of us. Sub Commander has to decloak in a little bit, so I'm gonna let him give his final statement on the season.
It would be cool if you actually decloaked when you.
No, recloak.
Recloak. That's what I meant. Sorry,
No,
I said
I
decloak,
won't
yeah,
say much.
it
I
was the
totally
cloak.
agree with everything Father E just said there. I think for me, peak Star Trek was the time when Gene L. Kuhn was the producer, which is really the second half of season 1 and the first half of season 2. I think that's when things were just really clicking. And it has a lot of those elements that you mentioned. So, yeah, I think, but I also agree that season 2, just on balance, I mean, it's I don't want to say it's more entertaining than season 1, but it's kind of more fun than season 1. I mean, season 1 has a lot of very serious stuff going on in it. So yeah, I like it. I'd watch pretty much any of these episodes at any time. So yeah, thanks for having me on. I got to go make dinner.
Have fun.
Yeah, this was great. I'll see you for Spock's brain.
Yes.
Take it easy.
Thank you so much for joining us. Robbie, what have you got to say about season 2 as a whole?
I think despite some of the tropes and the kind of reusing of a parallel universe, kind of staple to get around the budget. Season 2 does have a lot of really diverse stories. I think that's something that I've really missed from Star Trek until Lower Decks, actually, is just how different the show is from week to week. Yes, it does have its tropes, but it's either going to a planet or an alien being is coming to the Enterprise, and there's just something really attractive about that to me.
Very cool. Martian, what are your final thoughts on season 2?
I'm gonna put it this way. I know I'm a bigger fan of Cat's Paw than most, but if Cat's Paw is the low bar, I think season 2 is pretty good. I really enjoyed. Most of the episodes were at least entertaining or thought-provoking, or potentially could have been. Maybe they weren't executed great, the budget issues, all that stuff that was going on behind the scenes stuff. But overall, I thought it was a really good season. I mean, Journey to Babel is just an incredible episode to me. There's so many good, the good episodes are phenomenal. So I overall I really liked it. I don't know how I compare it to season 1. They're kind of on equal footing overall. I think I do like more episodes. My favorite Trek episodes seem to be. Well, we'll see. I don't remember what's in season 3, but a lot of them were in this, season. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this has been fun rewatching. I've been continually surprised over and over again, watching them now with a little more intention, and this intention specifically about coming here and discussing it with y'all. puts a different spin on it. And overall, I enjoyed season 2 very much. I'm happy to watch season 1 and season 2 again and again and again. I don't remember much about season 3, so I'm excited to see it and see how bad it truly might be, or I might end up enjoying it. Who knows? We'll
I mean,
see.
it's still
I
better
remember
than
Spartan's Brain being terrible. That's all I can remember.
it's still better than the first couple seasons of the Next Generation. So
So yeah, we'll get to that next, but I look forward to that. Everybody, please go check out these wonderful folks here in their respective channels. You can check out our Dadmiral Ian at TrekCatCatCat, and what's coming out this week.
Well, it's going to be later this week. Today I did the build video, so I've got the editing and stuff to do. But I'll just show it here. It's
Here, let me give you a full
the
screen.
USS Titan that we've got. So I've recently just
Very
coming
cool.
through. So that's this one, and that's going to be followed by Klingon Bird of Prey. So those are the next two builds that will be coming out. So yeah, that will be coming out on my channel. Probably one this week and one next weekend. So that'll
Excellent.
be it from me.
Tell us what's going on at Earl Grey Trekkie, Robbie.
We've got Doctor Who short, Children in Need, time crash discussion coming up, and then we've got Wage Douche and First Contact Lower Decks discussions coming up.
Right on. Ruben, what's going on in your publishing universe?
See, I put out 2 interviews this week. One with MMO Byte, who's a YouTube content creator on Twitch, YouTube. Talks about video games, mostly MMO RPGs. If you're into that.
Ooh, are you gonna
But
talk
it's-
to Ninja?
I'll give it a shot. I've reached out
Try
to
it.
quite a few people who have not reached out. I'm really surprised by YouTubers who don't who don't contact back. But
Well,
But,
Ninja's huge. He's like really big, so maybe he's very busy. But...
who else have I got? I got an interview with Angel Haynes, who's the hair and makeup specialist for a movie called Wild Indian. Very difficult movie to watch, but really well made. And I got another YouTube content creator called Dan Larson of Toy Galaxy. It's a really fun YouTube channel, a little 20-minute documentaries about famous franchises, mostly from the 80s. And that'll be coming out soon. And that's it for me. So that'll be popaxiom.com. Just go
And
to my
Ruben
R
Lord.
Martian at Twitter. Makes it
Yeah,
a lot easier.
R dash Martian also.
Oh,
dot
Ruben
com.
dash.
Oh,
yeah, Ruben
Ruben
Writes.
dash
Ruben
Writes
dash Writes.com.
dot
That's
com,
right.
that's right.
That too.
Father, tell us what's going on over at Tex Trek.
Sure. Well, we just finished our discussions of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 with the Season 2 finale, and that is available on YouTube now if you missed the live stream, but we'll have that out as a podcast you can listen to wherever you get your podcast. Those always come out either late Sunday night or early Monday morning. And go back and check out our discussions of the entire season and all the other stuff that we've done. Plus, this week at 7:30 p.m. Central on Friday, we will have a special live guest, Aaron Harvey, co-author and designer of the Guide to the Animated Series novel that talks all about the first Star Trek animated series. We have 2 more now with Lower Decks and Prodigy. So we're also going to be asking him his thoughts on Lower Decks Season 2. And he's already seen some of Prodigy, and we're going to get his opinions on that show and kind of get his perspective on the vibe of the show and what he hopes to see in it and what we hope to see in it. So again, that will be Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central, and after that we'll have weekly coverage of Prodigy, weekly coverage of Discovery and Picard and Strange New Worlds and everything else.
Get ready, everybody. Thank you, Father. And then also check out Boat Wreck, which is PJ's channel. He was on a little earlier today. As a matter of fact, tonight I think there's going to be a Deep Space Nine fan commentary episode.
Battle Lines, right?
Battle Lines, yeah.
Is that the name of it? The one with Kai Opaka and the
Yeah.
dude from Breaking Bad?
Yeah, so
I
check
think
it
it's
out.
called Battle Lines.
I think he
I
does
can't
it
remember the guy's
at
name.
8:30 or 9 Eastern, so I'm not sure. It might be 9 Eastern, but go to Boat Wreck and subscribe so you can keep track of that. And Starfleet Boy will be back next week on at some point. I'm gonna try to do an impromptu stream every day. Next week I'm off of my day job at the Starbase, so I get to just chill and hang out. So I hope if any of you guys want to hop onto those, I'll start sending you guys some ideas. You're welcome to come on. Audience, anyone who can join, we'd hope you'll join. And then we'll also be covering Prodigy and Discovery on Thursdays, probably with Trek on the Tube. And then we'll continue our journey here on Saturdays. And Father did the math, and it looks like if we stay on track, we'll have finished all of season 3 and all of TOS live action by the time Star Trek Mission Chicago starts. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, if I did the math right, you will finish with Turnabout Intruder on Saturday, April 2nd. But that's if you don't skip a single week. So that means Christmas Day and New Year's Day, those are both on Saturdays.
Well,
I'm free.
Recalculate.
I'm free.
Well, we might have to do pre-recorded ones on those days, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, indeed. Anyways, audience, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciated all the comments. It was very fun getting your opinions and thoughts. So we'll hope you'll join us again sometime. Live long and prosper, everybody, and we will see